Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again, and on today's episode I have a disgusting story for you here today. It is titled, "My wife said that she loved my friend during our wedding speech, so I called off the wedding, cancelled the honeymoon, and now she's begging for me to forgive her." I don't think I've read a story quite like this one, guys. I've seen ones where, the wife will cheat with the friend. The wife will say some nonsense saying how she's attracted to the friend, sure. But a wedding speech, there is something really quite evil about that one. So let's jump into this story here. This is a 29-year-old dude. So let's take a listen. I, a 29-year-old male, and my now ex-fiance, who's 27, and I have been together for 5 years. We had been through ups and downs, moved in together after year 2, and I'd spent the last year planning the perfect proposal. She said yes, cried, hugged me for 5 straight minutes, and I genuinely thought that I had found my forever person. The wedding was last weekend. Everything was going great. The venue was good. The food was good. The families were there, and they were doing well. The best friend, Jake, male 30, who I've known since high school, was my best man. He's basically like a brother to me. We have been through thick and thin together. So it's probably going to be this dude that she makes the comment about. All in all, no real large issues here. This is the reaction you probably want if you propose to a woman. I don't think proposing is a good idea in today's day and age. I say that every damn video. Okay, but at least she seems very ecstatic about it, guys. I've seen some wedding videos, proposals and things, where the woman just does not seem excited, man. And the dudes, they still think it's a good idea to get married to her. It never is, but at least she's excited here, as she should be, because marriage is a huge benefit to women. But anyway, he proposes, things seem to be going well, whatever. He says, during the reception, we did the traditional speeches. The dude, Jake, was hilarious and heartfelt. He told a few embarrassing stories from college and everyone laughed. I went next, kept it short and sweet, talking about how lucky I felt to be marrying the love of my life, and then it was her turn. At first, it was going well. She talked about how we met, how kind and dependable I am, and how happy she was that this day had finally arrived, but then she mentioned Jake. I'm sorry, guys, but looking at this, by the way, she talked about how we met and how kind and dependable I am. There's something, it's unfortunate because these qualities here have almost become an insult. When women say oh, you're the perfect boyfriend, right? You're great boyfriend material. You're so, they give you provider qualities. But the problem is they're not usually attracted to these men. And the reason why is because typically they've been with a whole bunch of dudes beforehand. They've hooked up with a whole bunch of guys off of dating applications. And so they can't be attracted to the dude who's a good, genuine provider anymore, who's kind and dependable. These used to be qualities that were very much admired, like a kind, dependable, honorable man. But these days, man, again, these qualities are just kind of leveraged as an insult, because these women aren't even attracted to these dudes anymore. Oh, you're great boyfriend material. So anyway, she mentions this other dude. She smiled at him from across the room and said, "And I wouldn't be who I am without Jake. I love him. I always have, in a way." This doesn't make it any better. In her head, she probably thinks that this makes it fine. She says, "I always have, in a way." The room kind of fell silent. I think everyone just thought she was being sentimental. But then she kept going. "You were my first crush, Jake. You probably knew it back then. A part of me always wondered what if, but I'm happy with how things turned out." You could practically feel the awkwardness fill the room. I looked at Jake, whose face was a mix of confusion and panic. My own heart felt like it had been ripped out and stomped on. So she says, "Hey, I had a crush on you, but things turned out great." This is not something that you, number one, say. Number 2, should ever happen. And number 3, it doesn't go down well just because she says, "But I'm happy with how things turned out." I had a crush on this other guy. I like this other guy a lot, but I'm with my provider man now, so I can't be mad about how things turn out. It's totally disgusting, guys. You have so many women who essentially just talk about dudes, kind of like we're groceries or something. You know, people always talk about, oh, you're dehumanizing women when you make like an analogy or something. But this is actually quite insane, right? When women go around and they talk about men like we're just interchangeable. Oh, you know, what if I could have that one instead? You know, the price on this one is a bit higher. It's like, it's absolutely insane how some of these women are like, you know, thinking that men are just interchangeable pieces. And so obviously she wanted the other dude. He says, I didn't cause a scene, I didn't yell or do anything. I just stood up, said excuse me, and walked out the side door of the venue. A few minutes later, my brother found me outside pacing. He asked me what I wanted to do, and I told him I needed time to think. The next morning, I told her it was over. Excellent stuff. No ceremony redo, no trying to sweep it under the rug. He says, I couldn't shake what she said. That speech was not a slip of the tongue. It was raw truth exposed in front of everyone that I cared about. She cried. Her mother called me cold. so she was crying about it. The mother came out and roasted him. And then the dad comes out and tells him to man up and stop being insecure. Oh, hell no. You can all screw off. The mother can screw off. The father can screw off. She can get, you know, the whole marriage is called off so she can go away. These people are insane. He says, but honestly, I think I was the only one reacting like a sane person. I agree with you. He said, I had booked a 2-week honeymoon to Greece, non-refundable, by the way. I called the airline and hotel, managed to salvage a bit of the cost, and then gave the trip to my brother and his girlfriend. They deserved it. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly a good move, right? If you cannot refund it, I think it's a fine move to give it to the brother or the girlfriend or something like that. Or hell, maybe even go yourself and just enjoy whatever you had organized. He says Jake messaged me saying that he had no idea why she said that he never saw her that way, and that he was sorry. And he said, I believe him. He looked more shocked than anyone in the room, but it still hurts. That little seed of doubt is now rooted in my brain. Apparently, she's telling her friends and family that I overreacted, that she was just being honest, and that it was normal to have past feelings. What a freak, man. He says maybe, but past feelings don't belong in a wedding speech, certainly not ones directed at the groom's best man. He says my parents, siblings, and close friends are all backing me. They say I dodged a bullet, and honestly, I think they're right. If she could say that on our wedding day, what kind of marriage were we going to have? Very good question, my friend. The answer is probably a bad one. He says she's been texting me nonstop, begging me to talk. Her family is blowing up my phone too. Her sister even sent me a long Facebook message calling me a heartless child and accusing me of humiliating her sister. I didn't humiliate anyone. She did that to herself. You would send, guys, I'd have like a copy paste roast message for these idiots, right? Just copy paste the messages and block their ass every time one of them messages you. You know what I mean? Like just record a voice note or something. Calmly explaining why they're stupid, and then just block them. I think that would be a great move, man. You don't even have to send the message. Like, really, just block them. These people are just, I don't even have the words that I could probably use here on YouTube to describe these individuals without being banned. So let me just say that these individuals here are not the brightest, right? Let them throw their insults, let them do whatever, block their asses. He says, I keep playing her words in my head. I deserve better than that. Everyone does. Have you guys ever noticed, by the way, the difference in context for when men say that I deserve something and women, right? Women will be on here and they'll be like, man, I deserve better treatment than that. But it'll always be with some like Giga Chad, you know, some dude who's like 6 feet tall, 6 figures, who was never going to give her commitment. And then she's like, I deserve better. Meanwhile, dudes will be over here about to be married and then use the word. I think the distinction there is quite important, to be honest. He says it's not all his fault, referring to Jake, I assume, but things between us are definitely weird now. I told him I need space and he gets it. He's giving me time, but something tells me our friendship will never quite be the same. Not because of what he did, but because of what she said. Honestly, like, it's not this dude's fault. I don't think you should discontinue being friends with the guy. She was the weird idiot. It's whatever. This guy seems genuinely apologetic, right? If you know this guy, you've known him for a very long time, you know nothing went on behind the scenes. I don't think there's any reason, you know, having an issue with your friend who is probably not to blame for this situation. That's assuming that he's not human scum and didn't actually cheat with her at some point. And that's a big if, but something to verify first. He says, right now I'm sitting in my apartment surrounded by unopened wedding gifts and a half-packed suitcase. I'm not bitter, I'm just tired and exhausted, but he's also weirdly relieved. Again, I think this is great because here's the thing. The silver lining is you dodged the bullet with the woman. She was probably cheating with somebody at least, right? Women who do this kind of crap, guys, it's not like, oh, the behavior was terrible one time and it was just a once-off. Usually it's actually an indicator that these people are a lot more evil than they seem throughout periods where perhaps you thought they were good people. But guys, we're going to be leaving today's story there. Absolute wild one. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.